right. Let's see. Give me one sec, guys. Sending out the tweets, and I think we're good to go. Oh, let me put the video on. There we go. Okay. Got a bit of time here before it begins, so I guess we'll kind of just talk for a little bit. Make sure the audio is clean. 1 second. Make sure the audio. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. How's it going, Lloyd? Thank you for being here. Guys, it is, well, it's kind of early for me. You know, need to get up anyway, but usually these presentations don't happen until the afternoon. I'm a bit surprised, and apparently this thing's only going to be like 10 15 minutes. It's supposed to be like a super quick kind of I guess just presentation, so we'll see how it goes. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get something similar to how the PS4 Pro was announced. Although, you know, they invited press out and had like this kind of, you know, little event with a stage and everything. But I was at least hoping for, you know, some type of longer live stream. But apparently this is going to be strictly about the console and no games. At least that's what one of the leakers said, that there's like no games going to be shown today. So this might be a super quick thing. Hey, Tregum, how's it going? Anyway, so I'm you guys, I don't really need to repeat myself, but you know, I've been kind of those one of those negative people when it comes to the PS5 Pro and its idea of existing. I just don't know if it's really necessary, you know, this generation like the PS4 Pro was. And I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to charge for this thing. We already kind of know what it looks like, but I just want to see people's reactions. I'm pretty much betting it's going to be like $600, and I think if the rumors are to be believed, it's not going to have a disc tray. It's going to have you're going to have to buy that, you know, as a detachable extra, and you're going to be able to use the PS5 Slim colors, the plates that they're selling right now. Even though it's a bigger console, I guess the three like vents on the side of it somehow extends it, but it's kind of uses the same size plates. That's kind of what I'm gathering. But you know, I guess we'll find out all that today. But I'm almost betting that this thing's going to be $600. It's going to be digital only. They're not going to have multiple tiers. And by the time that you're done purchasing the disc tray with maybe a color that you want, you're going to be spending like $720 after taxes. Oh, plus shipping. So this is going to be like, you know, almost like I can't even say high-end graphics card anymore because that's not even true. But, you know, you're going to be spending big money for this thing. This might even be the most expensive console that we've seen thus far. I'm trying to remember. I think what the PS3 now, right, is the most expensive console that ever released at the time. So this might even be more so. So I guess that We'll find that out. But anyway, that to me is going to be basically the most interesting part about this whole presentation. I guess there's going to be a bunch of used PS5 Slims without the disc tray on eBay. Oh, absolutely. You know, people are going to start selling their PS5 Slims or trading them into GameStop or whatever. Speaking of GameStop, I have to say, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they've been offering a lot for consoles. Just out of curiosity, I was like, oh, how much would they give me for my Xbox Series X? And they're going to give me $385 for a Series X. Now, keep in mind that Microsoft has a trade-in program as well, right? But Microsoft will only give you I think it's 150 bucks for your Xbox Series X, regardless of like what condition it's in. Like they're only going to give you that little credit, so it's a massive increase compared to like what other stores will give you. And there was this big thing. I guess they had some promotion that for a little time. I don't even know if it's still happening, but you could trade in your Series S for 285, which is like basically almost what you paid for the thing brand new. That's just insane. So everyone makes fun of GameStop trade-in values, but apparently for consoles, they're offering a lot these days. I still can't believe they're making a PS5 Pro. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea existed right since the inception. Like they probably thought to themselves, "Oh, yeah, we're of course we'll make a PS5 Pro." But I was almost thinking that because of how long it took to get the PS5 in stock consistently on store shelves, because a lot of people didn't end up getting a PS5 who really wanted one until around 2022. That's when things kind of settled in. I was almost thinking that it was going to be canceled, that they were just going to say, all right, yeah, this is kind of just, we can't decrease the price of the console. We're actually increasing the price of the digital version. And now we're going to be releasing, this Pro for 600 bucks. I just didn't think it was going to, I thought it was going to get canceled. I just didn't think it was going to happen. But here we are. And what's funny to me is a lot of people are like so on board with it. And it's so weird to me because I just want to see people's reactions when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, and if it isn't 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro, I almost just want it to happen just so that people just so I could see people just flip out online. But honestly, I think the whole frame rate arguments is just obnoxious to me, especially because I play a lot of older games which just happen to run at 30 FPS, and a good game is a good game regardless of the frame rate. As long as it's a consistent frame rate and it's not something super low, it's fine. But I think people put way too much of an emphasis on the way that things run these days, and I will say that image quality is the biggest issue now. It used to be resolution, right? Games were running at like 720p, 900p on your 4K TVs, and that was like PS4, right? And so it made sense for like a PS4 Pro because we had affordable 4K TVs. And it's weird because I see the problem this generation isn't so much the resolution. Well, I guess the resolution is still an issue because it's being faked and it's being upscaled from a really low, base resolution. So the games are still running at 720p and 900p. It's just that we can upscale it now, and the upscaling algorithms are terrible. They just look horrible, and so it causes the whole thing to just look muddy and just hideous. It's why I play. Here we go. It's why I play some of those games on like quality mode. I don't want to see any of that pixelization garbage. So it's an issue, absolutely. And I hope that PSSR is what it's called. This is the rumored, upscaling method that Sony's going to be using with the PS5. I just hope that it's like, right up there with DLSS, because FSR looks terrible. Like I'd use Epic Games TSR over FSR any day. It's just AMD has not done a great job as far as that technology goes. I'm hoping, how's it going, Soul of Air? I'm hoping it's going to be widely available unlike the initial 2 years of the PS5. That's also a concern. Yeah, it's a good point. I wonder if the pre-orders are going to go live immediately. Some people are saying I think the PS4 Pro did that. I'm trying to remember. I was able to, get like the PS4 Pro did not sell out like super quickly. I was able just to walk into the store and get one. And I don't know if I pre-ordered one. I'm trying to think. I don't think I actually pre-ordered it because I was working a retail job at the time, and I think I went to my store where I was working. It was on my day off, and I don't think I pre-ordered it. And I was able to buy it with my employee discount. That's why I went over there. And yeah, I think we got like a couple in. Yeah. So I mean, it was easy to get one from what I remember. But yeah, if it's anything like the PS5 during that first 2 year, that's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be a little crazy. Oh yeah, no, scalpers are gonna sell this thing for like $1,000, Lloyd. Absolutely, this thing's going straight up on eBay, you know, and people are gonna start selling this thing for $1,000, $1,100, and it's just that's why I think it's gonna be this might just be the most expensive console, of all time now. I just hope it's worth it. It's weird because Microsoft is like completely taking a new direction. Um, the fact that this thing exists, what I'll say, there's just no audio with this part, by the way, so that's why it's silent. The fact that this console exists means that I'm pretty much like, I'm trying to think to myself, why would I ever buy a third party game on my Xbox anymore? Um, and like the only games I would be picking up for my Series X going forward are the exclusives, right? But the Microsoft branded games like Indiana Jones or Perfect Dark, like those upcoming games. But everything else, especially if it launches day and date on PS5, like Doom, the new Doom game, The Dark Ages, like, as a multi-console owner, there's really no reason for me to pick it up on Xbox now, because everything's just going to run better on this Pro console. It's going to run at a higher resolution and look better. So it's like, for the rest of this generation, basically, it's Sony's going to force, well, I'm not going to force my hand because it's always a choice, but I'm going to be getting every game on PlayStation basically going forward for this generation because of this system. Since they're making a Pro model, I'm assuming this generation will last 4 more years. Yeah, I mean, I almost want it to last longer, but yeah, it seems like 2028. So I mean, Microsoft is already rumored to be working on their next generation Xbox. In fact, they said it. It's not even rumored. They said they're working on their next generation console. And I'm sure Sony is too. Sony's working on the PS6 right now. Absolutely. But I think Microsoft's going to come out probably a year. It's going to be similar to the 360 era, where Microsoft came out like first, and they came out with like a year head start. I almost bet you that that's what's going to happen. They're probably going to release the next Xbox in, I would say, 2027. People say 2026. It just seems a bit early for me. 2026. But what I'm more interested to hear about Microsoft's side is if they are going to make a traditional console, and whether or not that console is going to have a disc tray. If the console is digital only, the next Xbox, I will be not I won't be buying it, but instead what I'll be doing is building a new PC, which I need to do anyway. My computer's like wildly outdated. But there's like I will not buy a digital console. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a digital console as much as it is a restricted platform. Because if you want to buy a game on Xbox, right, a digital game on Xbox, where do you have to go? The Microsoft Store. Who controls the prices? Microsoft and all the publishers. At least on PC, even though it's a digital platform, I don't have to buy my game on Steam. I don't have to buy my game on Epic. I have key shops. I can go, any one of these websites and get like a super, Get like a key from one of these other storefronts. You know, I don't have to buy the games directly on any of these platforms like Steam or whatever. You know, there's options on PC, even though it's still a digital product. You still have, you know, a choice. And I think that's the biggest negative side as far as digital console goes, is that you don't have that choice. You know, you can't buy your Xbox game from all these digital, or your digital games on Xbox from all these other storefronts. It hasn't existed. And honestly, I don't think it would ever exist, because what benefit would Microsoft have to allow all these storefronts? The only reason that would happen is if the government got involved and ruled it out as being, you know, non-consumer friendly or something like that. Which I think some governments or one of those other countries is actually looking at the gaming industry for stuff like that. What PC specs do I have? I've still had the same computer I built in 2015, man. So if you're not aware, this thing literally will be 10 years old next year, and it was the most expensive. I'm gonna make a video on it, similar to how I did with my first computer. So that will be coming up next year sometime. But it was the most expensive life lesson. Because this thing was like a $4,000, $5,000 computer, top of the line everything, and it was then that I learned that no matter how much money you throw at something, you can't escape bad optimization. Doesn't matter how much power you have, a poorly optimized game is still a poorly optimized game. Anyway, it's fine for doing video editing and stuff that I do now, but I can't play games on it anymore. Like, you know, this thing would just explode pretty much. But like, just day-to-day using it and stuff like this and anything I need for videos, it's perfectly fine. You hope the next Xbox has new UI sounds and a new menu. It's sad, but I think that's wishful thinking. How are they going to justify the PS5 Pro's existence? The PS4 Pro and the whole 4K? Yeah, I don't know what the marketing thing is. That's going to be interesting here as well. I don't think the PS5 Pro is going to be as successful as the PS4 Pro. I just don't think, you know, because there's not like a market. Like there's a market for it, but the market isn't like, you know, it was easy to market. Like, as you said, for the PS4 Pro, it was easy to say you have a 4K TV, get the 4K console. It's just like super simple. And people who weren't even into gaming thought that made sense. I don't think that the average person gives a flying shit about ray tracing at all. I don't think the average person, you know, is rocking a brand new 4K 120 hertz TV, you know, to take advantage of the extra frame rate that they would get. It's going to be really interesting to see what their marketing tactic is, and that's why I'm kind of scratching my head saying, why are we here in the first place? Because I feel like this thing it's going to sell, but it's going to do like, I'd be shocked if it does more than half of the PS4 Pro numbers.
I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology.
That was quick.
But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
Let me know if the audio quality needs adjusting, by the way.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second.
You put 8K on the box too.
Has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it.
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer.
So it's like one mode.
PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to
It's the
fidelity
remaster
on
of the
PS5,
remaster.
which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier. This goal of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the Big 3 showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference. allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
What about the price and release? All right, here we go. All right, it's got black strips. So it literally looks exactly like the render that people leaked. It's literally the exact same.
It'll be worth it.
Oh, I can't wait for this, guys. The remake. It's gonna be phenomenal.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
I actually am, to be honest, excited to play Alan Wake 2 on this thing. And Spider-Man 2. Which I still haven't played all these new games, so good thing I waited. $700! Oh my god! $700! $700! And you don't even get a disc tray! It was, look! You don't even get the disc tray! Oh my god! $700! You don't get a fucking disc tray, so you pay $80 for the disc tray, and then if you want a color, oh. Oh my god, this is what people wanted. People wanted the PS5 Pro. There you go, $700, the most expensive console in history. Oh my god. I cannot believe I was like, all right, you know, maybe $650. That's fucking hilarious. I gotta check. Hold on, we gotta check right now. First of all, when are pre-orders going live? I just need to see. Usually Best Buy has something. God. PS5 Pro. I just want to see if, like, there's no mention of, like, pre-orders going live. Yeah. Guys. Alright, there it is. This is what people wanted. I gotta see the comments. Hold on. I just want to see what people are saying. Digital only, no GTA 6. Yeah. Lower the... Now people want to lower the price. Guys, you can't make gamers happy. You cannot make gamers happy. Too much. No. You see some W's in there. Rest in peace, PS5 Pro. Oh my god. 800, seriously? Yeah, you're right, Trago. They raised the price of the control. I read that. It was like $5. They didn't even announce it. They were just like, yeah, let's just up the price. $700 in this economical climate. This is what people wanted, man. You guys all wanted your super powered console, and you wanted, you know, your PC. You guys want basically the power of PC in a compact size, and you're gonna pay PC prices. This used to get you like a high-end graphics card. Now it gets you like the mid-tier GPUs. And there's no, yeah, people were saying there's no disc, digital only. Man. If you pre-order from GameStop, they won't do pending authorizations. Where's the... Hey, wait, if you pre-order from GameStop, they won't do... Oh, well, I think what they do, Metal, is they usually take, what, $100, if I remember correctly, although it might be different. I got nostalgic and wanted the PS3 situation from 2006 again. This is now the most expensive console I think if you adjust it for inflation, it might probably be just around PS3 price, maybe a little bit less if you adjust it properly for inflation. So there's that, but this is what I don't know what else to say, you know? To me it's like, yep, okay. but it's just funny to me to see people just flip out, you know? Everyone's screaming, well, we need the PS5 Pro. We're in desperate need of it. And it needs to be super powerful. It needs to go toe-to-toe. It needs to have all the ray tracing effects. Yeah, you're going to pay PC price for this thing. So what happens to all the games if there's no disc? Well, what you're going to do, Sweeney, is you're going to be buying the $80 detachable disc drive. That's what this thing's basically using. So you're buying the detachable disc drive for this thing. I assume, by the way, maybe they updated their website already. I assume you're buying the detachable disc tray because, like, no shit. There's no way that they would release this as digital only. Sony wouldn't do that. The only reason it's $700 and you don't see like a disc tray is because they're trying to keep the price as low as they can. But yeah, you're gonna be buying where is it? Where's the freaking... There it is. You're buying this thing. Oh, you don't get your stand anymore. So if you want to stand it up, you're gonna be spending so $80 for this, right? The disc drive. And then if you want to stand it up, $30. So already we're over $800. And then maybe you want to color because, you know, you don't like the white. So maybe you want to color with this thing. I can't even where are all the... These are the old plates. These are the old designs. Where's the new ones? I think they're the same price anyway. It still says pre-order PS5 console. Anyway, so let's say $60 plus what, 30 plus 80. So, you know, you're spending almost $900 for the without tax and without shipping. So you're probably spending over $900 to get a silver PS5 with a disc tray and a vertical stand. PS5 Pro. Do we know for a fact that they... No, I guess we don't. But, like, I'm just assuming because, to me, Sony won't make a digital-only system. They already know that they have people who have a PS5 with the disc tray. Like, this is their premier system, right? They're not gonna do that, guys. Seriously. This is their premier system. They're showing the disc tray, you know, on on the front page here. You know, they're just trying to keep the price as low as they can. But I'm telling you that disc tray is going to be used in the PS5 Pro as well. They just don't want to, you know, get the sticker price too high. So yeah, they wouldn't do that, Trigam. I wouldn't worry too much about that. As someone who only basically mostly buys physical, I would not worry about that at all. Anyway, so yeah, there's really not much more to say. on this thing. I will say that looking at it here, I don't think it's as unattractive as the PS5 Slim. Although, I'll be honest, the PS5 Slim is kind of growing on me the more I see it. I just didn't like the weird hump when it came to like the disc tray, because like at least with the original PS5, it kind of like there's like a gradual curve to the side of it, and then on the PS5 Slim, it just jutted out like that. It was like a straight line. It just looked weird to me. So this looks a little bit more attractive based on what I've seen, or based I guess what they're showing here. But yeah. All right. I guess we're gonna have to see basically when pre-orders go live. I'm gonna check Twitter really quick just to see. $700. Oh, that's nice. Sony is also removing Concord from people's digital library as well. I just saw that. Everyone's tweeting the disk drive right now. The PS5 Pro is a diskless console. Disk drives are a separate purchase. Okay, that's coming from Discussing Film on Twitter. Includes a 2 terabyte SSD. Okay. All right, they are including a 2 terabyte SSD. I'm just looking at tweets right now. That comes from Wario64. Here's the details. Okay, let's look at the blog post. Let's look at the blog post really quick. I guess, how do I send this over to me? Or I just go to PlayStation blog, right? News. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at this really quick. Blah, 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 blah. Players can add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive or swap out console covers when they become available. So when they become available, that's makes me wonder, are we going to be using the existing stuff? Is that just them, playing with their words a little bit, or are they going to be making separate models? I can't imagine they would I mean, I know it's a bigger console, but I'm just trying to think for efficiency's sake, just use the existing accessories. All right. Anyway, so yes, this is confirmed. You can add your disc drive and swap out the console covers. 2 terabyte SSD, a DualSense wireless control, and a copy of Astro's Playroom. Like, yeah, no shit. Is available as a diskless console with the purchase of the disc drive separately. So pre-orders began on September 26, 2024, and it's going to launch November 7th. Here we go. Available at all participating retailers and directly from PlayStation. Okay. So we have a couple of weeks before this thing goes live. It's going to sell out. It just is. Unless Sony made a large number of stock. But it's gonna sell pretty quickly. Even though it's $700. PS5 Pro fits within the family. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else there. The user interface and networks will remain the same. Interesting. PS5 Pro will launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7, in territories supporting the standard. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. So do they mean it this time? Because, you bought the PS5. It said on the box it would support 8K in a system software update, which never came. So now they're saying this console is going to, I guess, output in 8K. There's no way you're going to be gaming in 8K at all on this thing. Maybe PSSR, it will be like a game changer, and that will get you, an upscaled 8K resolution. But anyone here have an 8K TV? I just got a new TV, and it's sure as hell not 8K. Your options are basically like, do you want to spend like $7,000 for an 8K TV? Like that's like the cheapest I've seen them cost, and there's like no content for 8K. Not even all the 4K Blu-ray movies are 4K. Am I picking it up day one? I'm reading through the comments right now. If I missed you, sorry guys. Yes, I'm going to be picking this up day one. I just am. It's more, again, it's more economic for me to buy this still at this price point than it is for me to build a PC right now. And as someone who, you know, I just got a really nice new TV. There's a video coming up in a couple weeks on the channel, and this is going to pair really nicely with it. But yeah, I'm going to buy this day one. There's going to be an unboxing. Absolutely. There'll be no way to play disc games on a PS5 Pro without an internet connection. Yes, Tregum, you are absolutely 100% right, because you need to have an internet connection to verify, to authorize, or whatever it's called, register for the disk drive with the PS5. So yes, this thing is going to be 100%. If anything happens, you know, it's going to be 100% an online system. At least, yeah. If you want to make it a disc tray, it's going to be 100% online. You have to. So, oh well. It's terrible for preservation. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Having 2 terabytes is really nice. It probably increased the price of this thing by maybe an extra $100 or $50. Just saying, you know. This thing probably could be $650 if they went with the same 1 terabyte hard drive. Although 2 terabytes is nice. It's very nice. At least they're, you know, they're giving you a bit more. And then you can still add on top of that. So you can buy yourself a 4 terabyte SSD, and it still uses the 2 terabyte internal drive. So now you have 6 terabytes on your console. Like, that's a lot of space. So you can fit all the Call of Duties on this thing. If you want everything you mentioned, the stand, the different colors to drive, the PS5 Pro, you're going to end up spending $1,000 with tax and everything included. You might as well just get a PC. Yeah, I think for the general person, 100%. Yeah, because if you're looking to, like, you know, actually get the full package, you're basically spending $1,000, and you can build a really nice PC for $1,000. Maybe not as nice as you could before, but you could still, you know, do pretty well with $1,000. The GPU prices still need to come down a lot. It's ridiculous that a high-end GPU still costs $1,000+. Sony reportedly put a separate SSD inside the PS5 Pro that runs the UI. Really? Really? Well, that's peculiar, if true. I'm trying to think what the logic would be in that. Unless they're using like a... Maybe they have like a small Gen 5 SSD, because we have Gen 5 right now. So maybe for speed they do that, but I'm just trying to think like why that would ever make sense. I don't know if it's true. It's just a rumor. Okay. At this point, that doesn't matter, because you can upgrade the graphics card, a CPU, and still spend less than the next PlayStation will cost, and you'll have a better PC for it. If you're upgrading, if you're upgrading your system, I mean, it depends, right? I guess if you want to buy, like, how much is like a 4070 right now? RTX 4070 Ti. Isn't Nvidia coming out with like the 50 series next year? Okay, so it's basically the same price. You're basically paying for a 4070 Ti. So, and it's probably going to do you a lot better, honestly, than the PS5 Pro will. A 4070. You're probably going to get more mileage out of that as far as games go than the PS5 Pro. Although, I don't think they did necessarily a great job. I mean, there's really not much more they could do. We need to see a lot more, you know, games in action. But, you know, I really am curious how PSSR stacks up against DLSS and TSR and FSR and what's Intel's XeSS, all these upscaling algorithms. Sony keeps us up for the PS6. I'm switching the PC. There's too much problems on PC, or rather I have no issues with running my games. To me, I will say that the current climate of PC games I find that people still releasing, you know, kind of poorly optimized games with a lot of stutter and stuff like that. I think the latest Space Marine 2 just came out, and it seems to run well from what I heard. But I know Star Wars Outlaw had some issues. What was the other one? There's another one that also had issues. It's basically hit or miss. There's a bit of technical knowledge I think you need to have if you go over to PC. It's a fantastic, platform, I guess. When everything works perfectly on PC, it's just like, mesmerizing. It's wonderful. But, that's provided everything works. But that's not, most people I know these days actually game on PC. It's funny because I seem to be the only one who has like really a console from like my friend group. Everyone else has moved to PC, and they don't know anything about tech. like they built their computers with the help of like others, right? So they had like other people come and kind of show them what to do and things, stuff like that. But they don't know, like, in terms of graphics settings, they have no idea what does what. So, it's interesting because a lot of the casual audience, I've noticed, at least on my side, a lot of the casual people who just play a couple games a year are now on PC. And now you have all these, honestly, you can't really blame them because you have all of these console manufacturers now. You have Sony included. Everyone except Nintendo, basically, is putting their games on PC. It used to be like, you want the console for the exclusives, and now that's changing. Now that's all changing. Developers need to really take their time developing games and make sure they work. Yeah. I just think things need to be optimized and stuff. The 30 FPS quality mode doesn't bother me as much as long as it's consistent. Now, there are some games, obviously, where you want the higher frame rate. Like, I don't want to play Elden Ring at 30 FPS. Like, no. that just doesn't work. That goes against itself. So there are some games, that you really need that extra high frame rate for. But if I'm going to play freaking, like Star Wars Outlaws, like, I could probably play that at 30 FPS. Space Marine 2, I could probably play that at 30 FPS, But all this stuff is nice, I'm not gonna say a higher frame rate isn't nice. It really is. But I'm someone who I'll degrade visual quality only to a certain point. When it starts to really look bad and there's a massive difference, like a good point is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. When I played that, like, there was a massive difference in the way that game looked in its quality mode versus its performance mode. And yeah, even though it's a combat focused game that does kind of put an emphasis on your timings, I still found the 30 FPS mode more than doable. So for me, it works out fine. But they're saying here basically that the PS5 Pro is supposed to remove that choice. That it's not supposed to be performance or quality mode. You just put the game in and you're getting basically the best of both worlds. So that in that case, it's almost regressed. It's gone back to the console form factor because there didn't used to be a choice until the PS4 Pro came out. And all of a sudden, there's a choice now, and it's expected that everyone has a choice now. And now the PS5 Pro is basically going to say, okay, here's we're going to remove the choice and just give you basically the best of both worlds. So it's interesting how that has now come to fruition. I'm scared that they will start taking the easy way out and just give the PS5 Pro a performance mode in new games. Okay, there's a freaking the emoji icon. I'm using my phone to read comments. The emoji icon's blocking some of the comments. I have to move the text a little bit. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna buy this thing day one. I am. I'm curious to see how it's gonna do. I don't see it at all. I definitely don't see it right now. This thing is not gonna be as successful as the PS4 Pro. I think a lot of people who were curious about it and may have actually bought it are seeing this price, they're seeing this number, and they're saying, "Oh no, I'm okay. I'll put up with my, 720p FSR upscaled image for a little bit longer." Have I played Baldur's Gate 3? I have not, although I own a physical Japanese copy of the game. So I will get to it. In fact, it's a good thing I waited. I'm actually kind of happy now that things almost worked out the way that they did, because I haven't played any of the modern releases since or up until the release of Lies of P. Like Lies of P would be the next game I'll be starting in terms of the newer games. And everything that's released after Lies of P, I have not played yet. So I have all these games literally just sitting there kind of wrapped in the cellophane that I have not played. And now I'll be probably playing them on this thing and getting much better image quality and stuff like that. Definitely, I'm excited to play Alan Wake 2 on this. I am excited for that. And I'm hoping that Remedy, especially because the physical disc of Alan Wake 2 is coming out, I'm hoping that Remedy's going to patch in the ray traced reflections and a lot of that nicer kind of RT stuff that we saw on PC that we didn't get on the original PS5 and Series X. So I'm excited to see how that game looks on this system. But, it's also interesting because they talk a lot about ray tracing, and a lot of the exclusives that we've seen on PS5, a good chunk of them, I should say, are not using ray tracing at all. Like, they showed Horizon there. Horizon doesn't use ray tracing. They showed Demon Souls. Demon Souls doesn't use ray tracing. So, and Gran Turismo 7 doesn't use ray tracing in the gameplay. It only uses it in its photo mode or whatever, its gallery section. Excuse me. So they're showing all these games that aren't using ray tracing, and they're talking about extra ray tracing, like Last of Us Part 2. I can't believe we're still talking about Last of Us. Last of Us Part 2, the remaster, does not use ray tracing at all. So this might be great for third-party games, but maybe a lot of exclusives now from Sony are going to start using ray traced effects, but it seems like Insomniac was the only developer who was really kind of pushing that. So maybe we'll see other devs do that. Anyway, this is quite an event. It's almost like surreal. I'm just looking at the price. And I'm just like, wow, that really just happened. That really happened. That's insane. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of PS5s on eBay. People trying to sell their consoles to get the funds ready to purchase this thing. we just witnessed history. I would like to see. There needs to be. I wonder if there's like an inflation calculator. Inflation calculator. There we go. I just want to see if we can see. Here we go. If in 2006, I purchased an item for $599.99, then in 2024 it will cost $936.12. Apparently, is what this inflation calculator is saying. So when you adjust it to inflation, it's not quite as bad. Well, allegedly, this is all, they're just using algorithms to calculate this number. But it's not as, it doesn't feel, I should say, it doesn't feel as bad as the PS3 did when it came out. So when people saw the PS3 price, this is how they would have felt if Sony announced the price, $900. It would have been like, oh my god. So it's not quite as bad. I wonder if in 2013 I bought an item for $399, which is the PS4. How much has that gone up? $540. Okay. Interesting. That's really interesting. And then we'll do 2016 because that was the PS4 Pro. $524. Okay. Yeah, so this is, no matter which way you scratch it, this thing is monumentally more expensive than what the PS4 felt like at the time. Very interesting. It's a nice high-res image of it. Yeah, I don't mind the three vents, the black lines. I'm glad that they're black, because it kind of goes with any color you want to put on there. Oh, here we go. There's a picture. Okay, it is the same. It is the same disk drive as the Slim. It looks like it, at least. Like this, the size of it doesn't look, you know, massively different. So this thing plugs into the side, and then you got the plates, you know, on the right there. And then you, again, if you want to buy a different color, it's going to come with extra plates. Here's how it looks when it's laying down. Where is it using? Okay, I'm trying to look and see. I think it's still using those plastic feet. I think it's still using those plastic feet that the PS5 Slim used. So there's an idea of how it looks laying down. All right. Any last thoughts, guys, before we adjourn for today? We thought as well that we'd be getting a state of play announcement as well at the end of this thing, but they haven't. They disabled they disabled the chat for this live stream, probably because the video went live. Hold on. I just want to see. Here we go. I want to see the comments. I always love seeing the people's... Not sure what Sony is smoking, having their top-tier console not have a disk drive. That's insane. I cannot believe Sony is charging $700 for a console without a disk drive. What were they thinking? $700 is crazy. This ironically feels like a get a PC ad. Did Sony get possessed by Apple? I paid €399 for a PS4 Pro, which was around $100 above the PS4. $799 is an absolutely ridiculous comparison. $700 for a console, $30 for a stand, $80 for a disc drive. The PS3 era all over again. What did you guys fucking expect? This is like we're in right now one of the worst economic downturns in history. The housing market's out of control. It's expensive to go get groceries and go get anything else. You know, the cost of living is so high, and you want the super-powered console, but you don't want to pay the super-powered console price. What did you think was going to happen? This is why I kept saying, like, scratching my head. I was like, why does a PS5 Pro need to exist in this market? Where does it make sense? It makes, like, this is going to only target a very hardcore niche. This thing is basically cleaning up the image for you, and it's giving you basically double the frame rate at almost the same resolution as the PS5 normal version would have gotten you. You know, you're basically paying for like they said, it mixes the fidelity and the performance mode together. That's all it's doing. And it's upscaling it's upscaling the resolution so it looks perceptibly a lot cleaner. But what did you expect? You guys wanted... it's just all these same people would have sat there and complained, the frame rate's too low, we need PS5 Pro, we're so desperate for it. It's, you know, we can't live without it. And here it is, that's the price, and now you're all shocked. I saw people tweeting images of these things. Like, before the PS5 Pro, I'm sure you guys saw this too on Twitter. People were tweeting images saying, PS5 Pro, $499. I'm sitting here saying, what the fuck are you thinking? $499? They just increased the digital price of the PS5 Pro, or PS5, excuse me. Now I'm getting all these names mixed up. They upped the digital console of the PS5 up $50. They increased the price of that. Games are now more expensive this generation. They increased the price of the controller $5. Why did you think this thing was going to be like, oh, it's only $50 more expensive? Like, what the hell were you guys thinking? And now you're all shocked. You're all, like, just completely shocked. How could they do this to us? I just, like, it's the internet is hilarious, man. People are just really funny. They want everything for nothing. And again, I'm not justifying the price. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm saying to myself, what did you think was going to happen? You want all these beautiful things. Look at this stuff. You want all these really nice things. All these pretty, like, colors. Look at all these colorful pixels. You guys want all that? Oh, it feels so amazing. It looks so amazing. It runs at 60... No, it doesn't run at 60. It runs at 120 FPS. At 8K. Yeah, it's gonna be as much as a car payment. That's what that's what it's gonna be. I was actually thinking they'd do another price drop with the PS4. Oh no, they're not doing that. This generation is fucked. It's just fucked. There is nothing. No price drop at all for these consoles. If anything, the price is going up. If you bought a PS5 at launch, you actually got a better deal. You got a better deal. Think about that. If you were able to get one at launch. I don't remember any situation where that's happened before. If developers actually do what Mark Cerny said and stop splitting performance profile, it would be worth it. Just them playing the best console version of the game. Oh, I agree. But that's a very niche audience compared to something like the PS4 Pro. Because the PS4 Pro was just a simple, like, the advertising for it was so simplistic, it made sense, anybody could understand that. You had people, and it didn't do great numbers, right? The PS4 was still, it still was the primary console that people purchased. I think the split was like 80-20, they said. I think the split this time is going to be more like 90-10. I think 10% of all PS5 owners are probably going to have a Pro at the end of this generation. And Microsoft, it's a good point, Triggum, but you know, Microsoft wasn't going the Pro route or the Series X squared route or whatever you want to call it. You know, they decided not to do that, and you know, you can kind of understand why. Because they're probably saying to themselves, "Wait, we're going to charge people $700 for this thing for an Xbox, but all our games are coming." Like, I don't know anyone who has a Series X besides me. And I'm talking about like direct friends. I'm sure a couple of you guys have them. But like as far as people in my circle, I don't know anyone who has a Series X. I know like 2 people who have a PS5. And they're not at all like, you know, kind of into games. Like they play a couple of games here and there, but you know, it's not like, they're not like really into it. Like they're, you know, they try out like only the popular stuff and maybe play the online centric, you know, mobile games like Genshin Impact. Like that's the type of stuff that they're into. So, you know, as far as like the console audience, almost everyone I know who used to have a 360 or a PS3 has now, or a PS4, you know, and the Xbox One has now moved on to PC. Everyone's on PC now. That's where all my friends are. And I'm like the only one holding out here on console. But I think the split here is going to be an even greater divide. I think we're going to see more like 90-10. 10% of all PS5 owners have the Pro. And it's going to be interesting. It's just going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, effectively, I'm not going to be buying any more games for the Series X besides the exclusives. And even with the exclusives, but even with those you know, first party games from Microsoft, if they're launching day and date or coming out only very soon on PS5, why, you know, I'll just wait. Like Indiana Jones, you know, I wonder how that's gonna look on this thing, but I might just wait to get that on PS5. It just makes more sense. Anyway, I just think it's just funny to me. Where are the new comments? Play has no limits except the PS5 because now you need to buy a Pro. Buy it now. PS3's 2006 mistakes have been created once again. Everyone seems to be referencing that. What did you guys think was going to happen? God. This is pointless. I'm not convinced. It's just... And you know these same people would have been complaining online about, like, or have been complaining online about the PS5 and the lack of performance mode and lack of 60 FPS. You know? Oh, I haven't been playing a game at 60 FPS anymore. It looks terrible. We need PS5 Pro. These same people were literally doing that. Not saying all of them, but just, you know. You know it would have been the same people. They're going to complain one way no matter what happens. That's what's funny to me. Everyone's like shocked that it's expensive. It was always going to be expensive. All right. I think I've exhausted basically the point. I'll be getting one just because, again, it's more economical for me to buy this thing than it is for me to build a PC right now. It's funny because I already actually picked out what parts I want for my PC, although I'm going to wait until NVIDIA's 50 series. Well, hopefully by the time NVIDIA's 50 series comes out, we'll have an idea of what Xbox is going to do with their next console. And yeah, I will not buy... It's funny because I'm basically planning to buy this, even though it's technically a digital online console only. But at least you can still attach the disk drive. I guess we just don't know in terms of the actual longevity of those disk drives. How long are they going to last? What the maintenance is like on them? Like, that's the thing that we just don't know. Because anytime you have like external hardware like that, it puts it in risk of actually, I guess, dying. So it's just going to be interesting to see how long those disk drives actually last. A part of me actually is curious now. I might actually end up keeping my PS5. I was thinking, maybe I might sell my PS5 and get rid of it for the PS5 Pro. But now I'm thinking I might keep my PS5 because, God forbid, anything happens to this thing, down the road, and disk trays or disk drives for the PS5 they're not sold anywhere. And maybe something happened with the online server where Sony's not authenticating them anymore. Now the only console where you can play your PS5 games in that very specific scenario is going to be the original PS5 model. So it might be worth it keeping that system around just strictly for preservation purposes, just so you can play your games. Because that disk drive is an issue. Or I guess the external drive is an issue. Because it has to authenticate it from their server. So anyway, there's just not enough data right now, so all this is just speculation. All right, so basically, can anyone tell me, anyone else who's going to buy this thing day one? I'm just curious. I know we're talking about the price and joking around and making fun of people, but is anyone else going to be buying this thing? You can put like a 1 in the chat if you're going to buy it and a 0 if you're not going to buy it. And honestly, don't blame you at all for not buying this thing. It's just funny to me that people really thought this thing was only going to be like $50 more expensive. Because even I knew that was just a pipe dream. Tragum's not buying it. I'm curious to see how much larger or smaller it is than the original PS5. So that'll be interesting. I'll definitely be doing an unboxing in November, so keep a lookout for that. And I'm absolutely going to be doing a review or an impressions. I'll do something like I did with my Steam Deck OLED. I'll just talk about me playing it for a little bit. I am just getting a PS5 Slim to play Silent Hill 2. Well, there you go. And you know what? It's going to look amazing on that system. In fact, everything that we've seen of Silent Hill 2 thus far has been on the normal PS5. So, and that's a great, way to kind of look at things. If you're looking at the way some of these games look now, keep in mind that any footage that they showed you from the console, the PS5, would have been on the base model. So if you look at them, if you look at the visuals, and even though it's through a YouTube video, it's compressed and, you can't really tell. But if you're happy with the way that those games look from the internet, then you're probably going to be happy with the way it looks at home, I think Silent Hill 2 is going to look really good, regardless of what system it plays on. If anything, again, your fidelity mode on PS5 is going to be this thing's performance mode, and that's all you're getting. You're basically getting fidelity mode at 60 FPS. I would imagine that when it kind of comes down to it, that's what most games are going to be doing with this system. It's going to be fidelity mode, but 60 FPS. And then you're basically just paying for double the frame rate with better image quality because of PSSR. So, all right. I guess I'll update you guys on Twitter if I manage to pre-order one. I think a lot of people who were planning to pre-order this thing are now no longer interested because of that price. It's funny because I just realized as well, this is their PS5 Pro reveal trailer. There is no mention of the price at all in this trailer. There is no mention of the price or the release date. It's just Witness Play Unleashed. Do you know what time the orders start? Well, Swinny, it said on the blog here, said right here that, well, we don't know a time, but we know it's going to be on September 26th. Little PSA, keep an eye out for Walmart. Because Walmart likes to open up the pre-orders early, and that's happened multiple times now. It's how I got a PS5 pre-ordered, because I was sitting there ready to pre-order the thing, and like Walmart broke the pre-order date, like I think the day before or something like that. So, you know, all I'll say is, if you're actually interested in getting this thing, keep an eye out for Walmart, because you're probably going to be able to, you know, get the pre-orders for this thing off of Walmart if they release it early again. They might actually do that. But there's no time. It's just, you know, September 26th. So you got a couple of weeks to decide if this thing's right for you, if you can come up with the cash. Got 2 terabyte SSD. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting as well, because I have a 4 terabyte SSD in my PS5 right now, so I could just take that and plop it in here, and now I have a 6 terabyte system. So, and I wonder if that's gonna fit all of the games from this generation on it. Probably not, but you want to play Hogwarts Legacy on it? They showed Hogwarts Legacy and it looks good, especially with those ray tracing effects, because that was another game that on PC it just looked wildly better than the console. And I did play that in its ray tracing mode on the PS5, and I thought it looked really good. Your mom got an invite to pre-order the PS5 from PlayStation. Yeah, you can also do the direct here. I like the idea of pre-ordering it directly from PlayStation, just because I feel like there's less that can go wrong when you pre-order it directly from PlayStation. Although if you recall, back when the PS5 came out, they actually had queues waiting for the website. So when you were trying to pre-order this thing from PlayStation directly, you had to like wait in a queue, and it was frustrating because the console would sell out almost immediately if you weren't part of like that first wave of people that got in. Anyway, yeah, okay. I'm gonna head out, guys. This definitely woke me up. It's just insane, kind of funny, and there's really not much else to say about it. It is what it is. It's what people have been screaming that we desperately needed, and they just had delusions about the price. That's all I can say. They had massive delusions about how expensive this thing, or how affordable this thing was going to be. And it is what it is. I'm going to be buying one day one, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll see. I might end up really liking the system. It's going to be a PS5, so I like the PS5. I wish there was more games for it, but there's other stuff that's coming out later next year, I should say, that I'm really excited for. There's stuff to look forward to. It's just a matter of when we'll actually get it. But in any case, okay. I'll update you guys on Twitter if or when I manage to actually pre-order one, and if there's a state of play that's going to happen sometime this month as well. I'll go ahead and I guess put up the live stream reminder. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. By the way, I really appreciate you being here, and I guess we'll see what happens. All right. See you guys.